It's different in so many ways. First of all, this is a document that has been produced after a very detailed analysis of what has gone wrong in the past. We've had also documents in the past that have not really given us the desired outcome that we expected at the time. So one thing we did was to put together our various strategy documents to find out for ourselves what is wrong. Is it the document or is it the implementation? And we came to some very simple conclusions, and that if we implemented those documents, things would have been different. And in doing the analysis, one of the things that was lacking is the implementation blueprint, the manual, the how. That we have taken time to produce. So now we have a visionary document that says by the year 2020, Nigeria should be one of the largest economies in the world. And we have also produced a blueprint as to how we will get there. So it's not just talking about it, but there are benchmarks, deliverables, programs and projects, timelines, and responsible agencies that will deliver on those things. So this is quite a different approach.
Yes, let's talk a bit about the implementation. We do know that it's in phases, starting with the National Implementation Plan, which is phased from 2010 to 2013. What are the key priorities in that first phase?
Well, the first thing is to build, the priority is to build a solid foundation. It's like building a house. It is very difficult. It may not show immediately the kind of leverage we are looking for, but clearly what we needed to do is to show that in this particular one, we need to look at the sustainability of not just the strategy, but our deliverables. So that is one. The second thing that we needed to show and do is to entrench some institutional issues, putting governance issues in place. And one thing we did was to have a law. We have just crafted a new bill that will ensure the continuity of projects and programs. That is also something that we believe will help us in delivering on the objectives.
Can you tell us a little more about that law? Because I think the legal framework for implementation is very important. I think that's something that's probably lacked in the past. Can you tell us a bit about this legal framework that is being set up for this Vision 2020? The
legal framework is incredible. I will find a way of making sure that we'll get it out to as many people as possible to see. What the law is trying to do is to say, look, we'll have project continuity, we'll have program continuity, we'll have less white elephant projects that are abandoned usually. We'll have limited scope for leaders to come in, abandon projects, start new ones, or even begin to deviate from the plan. So the idea is, on one side, is to ensure continuity of our projects so that we'll have less abandoned projects. The second component of that bill is that we needed to make planning compulsory at all levels. I gave you an example of countries like China that has been planning all their lives. If you look at India, they've been planning religiously and implementing the plan religiously for the last 50 years. But the last time Nigeria had a plan was 1982. Because the military people came in, abandoned, through the plans away, we haven't recovered. So this is the first time we are coming back to the issue of planning, and we believe that if we can insist on having planning institutionalized, then Nigeria will be better for it. So those are the critical elements of the framework that we think is good for the country.
And then, of course, tied to implementation is the issue of assessment. Can you tell us about the assessment system that is in place for this plan, which will let us know what is going on progressively?
Well, this is, again, another innovation that we have introduced in the plan. In the past, assessment was based on what people said, subjective. We have now introduced a massive M&E framework that will allow or compel all agencies of government to monitor the implementation of their programs and projects. Feed it through a national M&E framework. That is on the one side. We'll also have the same type of loop with the state. So we need to monitor, in as much as we have issues of separation of power, which we cherish in this country. There's also need for collaboration. between the federal government and the state governments. The reason is that we have one economy. We can have 36 states and one federal government, but ultimately we have one country and one economy. So the implementation plan that we have produced is also inclusive of the plans of the states. So we are now in a position to monitor not just the federal plans, but also the state plan. And where there are deviations, we will bring it to their attention. And I think if we can see it through, Nigeria will be better for it.